Today I want to talk about Kelvin Gilliam, who has committed to the University of Oklahoma, and talk a little bit about the Sooner Summit and all that's coming up after the bumper.
Don't be cornering me. Hold up. Time. You gotta help me with that corner shit.
What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. So it's college football related, sports related. We have a good time. Today, I want to talk about defensive end and Oklahoma commit Kelvin Gilliam, who is chosen to commit to Oklahoma over the likes of Penn State and South Carolina. He is ranked 104th in the 247Sports composite and gives Oklahoma a sixth commitment in the 2021 cycle that is ranked inside the top 150 recruits in the 247Sports composite. Outstanding get for Alex Grinch, Calvin Thibodeau, and Jamar Cain. He could blow up to about 250 pounds and be an elite edge rusher. You could move him inside if that's what you wanted to do. But I kind of see him playing that same similar role as a guy like Clayton Smith, where he can stand up if you need him to, but at 6'3", 250, maybe blows up to 280, move him inside to be a three technique. Brian Doan makes him a third-day draftee like Devon Godchow. Like the evaluation is pretty simple. Framed to play defensive end or inside in college, carries 250 pounds easily, long, athletic, and quick, can use as a speed rusher off the ball or with the bull rush, could be good with his hands, able to press off the block and redirect down the line of scrimmage, has burst at the snap, possesses closing speed, can manipulate his body to squeeze through the line of scrimmage, ability to chase the play down on the backside, patient, plays assignments well, smart player with a high motor, has to continue to add upper body strength, work on his technique for varied movesets and combination needed inside. Multiple year starter for a top 15 program. That's what Oklahoma is. He was second team all area selection coming out of Highland Springs in Virginia. And it's another time for which Oklahoma's been able to go into Virginia and get another win. Of course, lately it was Damon Harmon. And you know that I think the world of Virginia high school football. Tony Grimes coming out of there as the nation's number one 2021 cornerback reclassified so that he get to North Carolina today. He's probably going to see significant snaps this season in the ACC. Of course, Travion Henderson coming out of Hopewell is going to Ohio State. And on it goes for Virginia. Matter of fact, if Virginia and Virginia Tech could just lock up the state of Virginia, to say nothing of Liberty, though they got their own problems because it's real hard to be a black man and go to play ball at Liberty, especially with what they've been espousing here lately. They could be good, but leave it to Oklahoma. Shane Beamer having ties to that area to go in there and get a win for the Sooners. And this is one that Oklahoma really needed to win, especially knowing that Kendall Daniels committed to A&M over LSU, Clemson, and Oklahoma. You really want to get these guys inside the top 150. It gives you a real opportunity to finish with a number 10 class in the 2021 composite. And really, you're going to need to do more than that, but these are the kind of guys that make up the backbone of your program. This is the kind of guy that creates outstanding depth, whereas you just have depth. And as Alex Grinch said earlier in the week, Oklahoma has had problems with depth since she's been there. He said, our depth chart has not been the same, not one day here at Oklahoma. It's just the way that it's been. And knowing that you lose guys like Marcus Hicks to an Achilles injury, and knowing that you are going to have to break in Perion Winfrey, Josh Ellison, among others, to try to fill those roles where you expect Jalen Redmond and LaRon Stokes to start. But then Jalen Redmond has his own issues because he was picked up for DUI a couple weeks ago. You're really going to have to rely on your depth to get you through not just the start of the season, but to try to carry you into what you want to be, which is a championship football team. It's a long way for Oklahoma to go, but Kelvin Gilliam helps you get there. And one of the ways in which I think Kelvin Gilliam helps you get there is I look at Alabama. Last year, Alabama had 4 true freshman starters in their front 7 because of injury or one thing or another. They lost guys to the portal. 5-star defensive ends, 5-star defensive tackles into the portal. And when you look at losing Dylan Moses, who was an outstanding linebacker in 2018, I think he'll be an outstanding linebacker in 2020. And you take into account what they are capable of, and they still won 11 games, and they needed a pick 6, really 2, from Mac Jones to lose to Auburn. One of those was not Mac Jones' fault. Look at how Mac Jones played the last 3 games of the season. It's really outstanding. And you can see what depth looks like at Alabama, right? They can go so deep. They can lose so many. They can still win 11 games and hand Michigan their head in the Citrus Bowl, to say nothing of losing to a very good Auburn team from what we knew last year. Same Auburn team that beat the Oregon team that won the Pac-12 championship and the Rose Bowl. Kelvin Gilliam gets you closer to that. You need to land a bunch more like him. I think he and Ethan Downs are going to be the guys for which I watch to really shape up how this class goes. We all know that Caleb Williams is at the far end of the spectrum when we're talking about upside and ceiling, but you're going to be as good as you can be defensively. For Oklahoma to reload offensively is one thing. For them to load up defensively is quite another, which gets me into the Sooner Summit to a degree, right? Caleb Williams put out a photo earlier this Saturday where he basically organized an unofficial visit for some top talent in college football recruiting, right? We're talking about not just him, but if he could land guys like Jalil Farouk, Kamar Wheaton, Tristan Lay, and Savion Byrd, you're talking about really coming out of nowhere to have perhaps a top 6 or even top 5 class, depending on how a lot of other things go. Remember that Caleb Williams, along with Latrell McCutcheon, were named preseason USA Today All-Americans, and speaks volumes about McCutcheon because he didn't really play as a junior because he was hurt down there at LBJ in Austin. But he's really that good when he's healthy, and it all points to he's going to get to play his season in Texas. And I'm expecting a lot of those guys to really pick up steam in what they're looking for. And in this unprecedented dead period, you're already not just putting some distance between you and others if you're able to organize these kind of trips with your recruits. It shows tremendous leadership on Williams' part, but also you're able to try to put Oklahoma in the same context as Clemson, as LSU, as Alabama, as Ohio State, all squads that have won a national championship since 2014. And you know that that's my big criticism of Oklahoma. You have done just enough to get to the playoff, and then things break their way for you. The thing that really gets me upset about Oklahoma football is to look at the window and not always assume that the window is going to remain open. The way that I trot this out is LSU averaged 48.4 points per game in 2019 and won a national championship with a mediocre defense. In 2018, Oklahoma averaged 48.4 points per game and happened to have one of the worst defenses in all the Power 5 and one of the worst secondaries in all of college football in the FBS. That can't happen and win a national championship, but you don't have to be that much better than what you were to have an opportunity to win those national championships, especially coming out of the Big 12, which is not the grinder that the SEC is, and certainly is probably on par or even a little bit further ahead of the ACC, depending on how good you think the second best team is in the ACC. Last year, it's Virginia. Okay, last year it was Baylor. You saw how Georgia beat the hell out of Baylor. You saw how Florida beat the hell out of Virginia. So what are we actually talking about except Oklahoma in the Peach Bowl against LSU getting exposed once again? And for all the smoke and all the noise that people want to throw Clemson's way about its watered-down schedule, when it comes to play with the big boys, they do exactly that, right? Yeah, they lost 42-45. They were in the national championship game. And they're used to being in a national championship game in Dabo Swinney's time at Clemson. And let's not forget that Clemson announced itself over Oklahoma's dead body in the Sweatpants Bowl, which you know of as the Russell Athletic Bowl, 40-6. It was one of the worst passing performances by a quarterback, Trevor Knight, in like 10 years, right? And Jalen Hurts got real close to that against Texas Christian to show you how good Gary Patterson's defense can be. But it's a good pickup for Oklahoma in Kelvin Gilliam. Adds another great piece to this class, and we'll continue to watch and see how it grows. All right, that is it for me. Doses.